you know, the idea of customizing maybe in a little bit of a different segment. So you have the folks that you know ring one way, the folks that you don't know, an unknown phone number ringing another way. I like that. I think that's a great idea. You know, it helps you kind of understand when you're running around trying to find your phone if you should be busting your butt to get there, or if you can, you know, take your time because it's okay, right? I like that idea. But what's also interesting is that Chain Dog asked about the song "Call Me" by Blondie and if that would be meta. But I would argue that it probably wouldn't be, because you'd have to have something like Sugar Ray's "Answer the Phone." If your ringtone is Sugar Ray's "Answer the Phone," that would work much better, because if someone's calling you and it rings with "Call Me," that can work maybe as a reciprocal relationship, but you know, it should be Sugar Ray's "Answer the Phone," because then you know, when the phone rings, it's "Answer the phone," right? So it's like "Answer the phone, jackass," right? So anyway, I thought that was a good idea. I love the idea of having the ironic ringtones. I love that kind of thing. I used to do that kind of stuff all the time, and try to find ways to make them fun and exciting. That way, if they do go off, people are really willing to forgive you about that. They laugh it off and go, okay, you know, that's pretty funny. I'll give you that one. So anyway, that was some of the highlights of what you guys talked about. I think overall, you know, I agree. I think customization is a great thing that we can do with our phones, and I like the ideas that you guys brought forward. But I have to say, my philosophy is that I really like the idea of customized ringtones, and I like the idea of using music as a way to do that. And I think, you know, I'm probably going to continue to do that, because I don't see any reason not to. Although I do miss calls because I don't hear my phone go off oftentimes, and I would argue that that's not necessarily a bad thing. I went kind of unplugged for a while I was on vacation, and you kind of, you know, turn the phone off or whatnot. And I have to tell you, it is a very liberating experience. For any of you that haven't done that, you know, just take a little vacation from your phone for a little while and go, wow, thank goodness I did that. Now I know, you know, some of you it's a lifeline and a way back to your family, and so don't go telling them that the Commodore told you to turn your phone off, and so you can't talk to them. But other than that, you know, take a vacation from your phone sometimes. It's actually pretty interesting. Missing a few calls here and there isn't the end of the world. And, you know, I had an ex-girlfriend that absolutely refused to have a ringtone. It was always vibrate or nothing. And it was so annoying calling her, because you'd have to call her at least twice to get her, because every time the phone would ring the first time, she would never get it. You wouldn't want to leave a message because you knew that it was just a matter of her not getting to the phone, and then you call her back, and anyway, you get the point. That kind of colored my concept of how people should be using ringtones, because I couldn't stand that idea. It's like, when I call you, I want you to answer the phone, right? And I don't want to call you 3 times in order to make that happen. I'm probably exaggerating here, and I'm probably going way overzealous. But anyway, the point is, I like the idea of customized ringtones. I think it's great. And for me, vibrate and silent have never really been an alternative. I like to be able to have the sonic cue, if you will, that, okay, you know what, my phone's ringing, I need to go get it, right? That works best for me. That being said, like many of you, I do miss the old days of MIDI, and I thought about this. You know, that could be a really cool way to kind of, you know, retrofit your phone, is to go download some MIDIs and see. And I don't even know, I'll be honest with you, and I use Android. I'm not even sure if they have any kind of capabilities to do MIDI reproduction on the Android for ringtones. But if they did, I think that would be pretty cool. I mean, I would definitely be interested in going back there and putting out some of the old. I had Scotland the Brave in my old 5150, and I had, you know, I put the Mega Man 2 Woodman theme on one of the old Nokias I had by actually entering it into the little MIDI composer that they had there, because people would post them online. In any case, that's my philosophy. I like the idea of customization, but I'm also with you guys. Don't make it overzealous and don't make it ridiculous. And if you're just putting a ringtone out there so that you can hear it for yourself as a kind of, you know, self-congratulatory kind of thing, like you want to be in Target so your phone goes off and you're like, oh yeah, check out my ringtone, it's awesome. Like, those people are total losers, and I think we all know that. So don't be those people. Be smart about it, and I think you're probably in pretty good shape. Good conversation about the philosophy of ringtones, and I like asking those kinds of open-ended questions. You guys always rise to the occasion for those things. Let's see. So why don't I take this moment to welcome some new people that we had this week as well. I always try to do that every week, and it's great because almost every week that I've done the Weekly Ringer, and we're coming up on a year here, folks. There's been, I think, almost every single week there has been someone new, and that's great because we like to bring more people into the community and keep them coming back. And through all the things that we want to do with the website, you know, being able to bring people back week in and week out, it is a great feeling for me. You know, it's a great thing to be able to talk to the same folks every week and be a part of your week. And you guys are an active part of mine as well. So I really appreciate that. And this is why I do this. I do this because it's great to be able to have a community to talk to about things that we all love to do, right? And that's why the Clan of the Grey Wolf is here today. So the new people I want to welcome to our Weekly Ringer, and not necessarily the Clan of the Grey Wolf, I should mention. First, El Barto Me, or M-E, depending on what the way you're reading of it. But yeah, welcome to you. Some great insights as well on the ringtone debate, and I greatly appreciate your contribution. And also Alucard Dal V, and you know, welcome to you as well. Some very interesting insight on the Halloween question from last week, which I honestly couldn't agree more about. I thought they were spot on. You know, I hope my words were not misconstrued, that I in any way do not appreciate and or enjoy gawking at from time to time the wondrous splendor that is the female form. However, I would say you're absolutely right. There are definitely differences between sexy and slutty, and I was talking about the latter and not the former. So now let me go grab my Clan of the Grey Wolf coffee mug here and get a little sip. That's nice. All right, so I was thinking about a question for this week, and I found an article online, and I thought it was really interesting. And I might post it, so keep your eyes out for that. But it's amazing how much technology can change in a very short amount of time when you think about it, right? I mean, you know, think for a minute, right? Even just your parents or your parents' parents. Now, I realize for many of you that seems like a really, really, really long time. And it is a long time, right? But I want you to think of it in terms of human history, right? It's a very small amount of time. But for many of us, our grandparents were born in an era that there was no television. For some of us, our grandparents were born in an era where radio communications was in its infancy, right? Now, think of that in terms of, that means in basically two human generations, we've gone from having almost no radio signal, you know, broadcast capability at all to the world we live in today in 2011. And it seems almost unfathomable. But technology, the way things run now, makes things even shorter than that, right? If that wasn't astounding enough, think about this. And this was the article that I found. It talked about the revolution that's going on in mobile gaming. Now, if you look back 2 years ago, now, for many of us, if I said something like 2009, you would think of that as present day. You would not think of that as an era bygone, right? But the numbers say differently in this regard. In 2009, I don't have all the exact statistics, but there are pie charts in the article that I read, and I'll pass it on to you guys. But 2 years ago, the Nintendo DS made up of most, and it was in the realm of like 40% of all mobile gaming across the world was done on a Nintendo DS. There was, of course, the PSP and some other smaller niche platforms, and then there was this kind of newer mobile gaming platform for people that had smartphones, right? And that was only 2 years ago. The newest numbers were just published for the year 2011, and the staggering statistic that got me going was the fact that mobile gaming now, in terms of an industry, now actually is a larger industry, has more revenue in mobile gaming for smartphones than all of Nintendo's and all of Sony's mobile gaming platforms put together. Think about that for a minute. In 2 years, Nintendo went from being the largest and greatest mobile game platform to now being a small niche player in a niche market because mobile gaming is taking off. Now, rather than ask you where I think that's going to go in terms of mobile gaming on the cell phone, we've had several conversations about that. What I want you to do today is put on your fortune teller hats. And I want you to think about what's going to happen as if we were probably 10 years down the line, maybe even just 5. If what I just told you is true, you might not even have to go that far. You might even need to go 2 years, right? But let's pretend we're a few years down the line. The question I want to ask you for next week's Weekly Ringer is this. What do you see as the future for Nintendo and Sony's mobile platforms for gaming? We all know about the Wii U. We know that the PlayStation is here to stay in one form or another. I'm not interested in that. And I hope that Nintendo and Sony will continue in those arenas because I think they do very well. But I'm interested in their mobile platforms. So if this really is a revolution in mobile gaming, I want to know what the effects are. And part of that, the answer to that question, you guys, and I hope you do tackle this, is what do you think these guys can do? Or what do you think they will do in order to combat this revolution of mobile gaming on the mobility platforms of smartphones and the like? Make sense? Good. If it doesn't, send me an email and let me know. I will be glad to answer and any questions you might have. So, thanks so much for watching, everybody. This has been a great week. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys today. I hope you have enjoyed watching as much as I have filming and producing the videos. So thank you all for watching. As always, the community does not exist without you. I am the Commodore from the clan of the Gray Wolf, and there is no reset button.